So the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son. John 1, verse 14. What's up, y'all? Welcome to 30-Second Sermons. So a couple things that I thought about when I read this verse was the Word, right? The Word became human and made his home among us. And then in the very beginning of this chapter, it says, in the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. And God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. So let's go back to the beginning, right? So in Genesis chapter 1, it starts off with this. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. And this is where he starts creating, right? Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. So, the word that God spoke was, "Let there be light." That was the first thing he created. Because it says in John that through him, everything was made. So through the light, everything was made. I kind of find that interesting because our vision, what we see, also this camera, what it does, what our eyes do and what this camera does, it lets light in and shade. And you have to have both to be able to see. Because if it was just all light, it would just be bright, right? And something else that's pretty cool is it talks back in Exodus chapter 34, verse 29. It says, "When Moses came down Mount Sinai carrying the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant, he wasn't aware that his face had become radiant because he had spoken to the Lord. So when Aaron and the people of Israel saw the radiance of Moses' face, they were afraid to come near him." So that's pretty cool that Moses was in God's presence, and God's presence is so bright that Moses was glowing when he come down from the mountain. So here is my point, I guess, because you're probably trying to figure out, well, what are you getting at, Jens? What's the deal? So I'm getting at this. I don't know. No, for real. So what I'm getting at is, in our life, we have good and bad. We have light and dark. We have day and night. Evil and good. I mean, there's always contradicting, and there's always contradicting things in this world and all around us. You've heard sayings like, you gotta take the good with the bad, stuff like that. Well, Romans 8:28 says, "God uses all things for the good of those who are called according to his purpose." All things, the good and the bad. And in the beginning, when God created light, when he said, "Let there be light," he didn't destroy the darkness. He separated the darkness. It's kind of interesting. God doesn't destroy our past and the mistakes that we made whenever we accept the salvation and we allow God's light to come into us. He separates it. When we become Christian, we don't become perfect. We don't become fully light. But what happens is we start allowing God's light to shine through us. And everybody's different. We all go through a process. You might even call it a sanctification process, where that light starts shining through us and we start changing the dark things about us. Again, it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. Trust me, I'm 40, almost 44, and I'm still getting worked on. God's still changing me. I would be a fool to think that I've reached my peak with what God's doing with me. And to be quite honest, you would be a fool too, no matter where you are in your Christian walk, to think that you've made it. Because the only time we made it is when we're standing next to Him and we're not in this world anymore. But until then, we should want to allow God's light to shine through us. And the best way to do that is working on our relationship with Him. And I know it's a broken record, man, and I know I say it all the time, but I think it's kind of interesting how it always comes back to this. Your relationship with God is the most important one you'll have. Work on it daily. Communicate with Him daily. That's what a relationship takes. So as you go throughout the day today, and tomorrow, and the next day, allow God's light to shine through you just a little bit more each day. In fact, when you're conversating with God in the morning, ask Him to show Himself through you more and more. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and listening to me ramble a little bit. Hopefully it made sense to you. Made sense to me, but my mind's a little bit warped sometimes. Do me a favor, if you like what I say, if it helps you out at all, hit the like button, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, but most importantly, share. Hit that share button. Talk to you soon. Peace.